What's up, guys? It's Mr. Shaver back again with our boy Bob. We're moving right along. Okay, we are in section 3 today. Is where we're going to start. We've polished off the first two, and this is the last part of it, guys. We're moving right along. We'll be finished in about 5 more days. Okay, so it's getting time to realize what's going to happen, and it's all kind of all over the place right now. Let's set our bookmark for us and go back. First thing I see is this alligator on top of the car. So it kind of reminds me that's Bob escaping. Remember? We found out Ivan was okay, everything's good, but as everything's going down, they got the cops there, the vets are there, paramedics are there, Maya's there running everything, the director's there, we have Officer Williams on the radio, the police chief, and she's running the show there, and we're just trying to mobilize everybody. So we have people running around with Trent guns and nets. We got people trying to find people. We have search dogs out there that help find Ivan. Remember that. And now, as they're on the radio, if you remember, Bob hears something that sounds familiar on the radio. Remember they said the shelter is flooding. So he could hear barking through the phone or through the walkie-talkie. And he said, some barks you never forget. So that kind of blew our minds when we read that. And he said, I know where I need to go. He tells Ruby to tell Ivan that they'll be back, and he escapes. Right? He jumps out of Sarah's arms and runs away, and he says, I know where I need to go. And that was the last thing that we read. And that chapter was called On My Way, so I don't know what way is he onto. You know, where's he going? That's what we're trying to figure out. So here we go. We're going to start with looking. I'm going to read a little bit of this today, and then we're going to see where it takes us. All right, because I want to see where he goes and who in the world is he trying to find. And where in the world is George and Julia? No idea. So let's go. Looking. Ivan used to ask me what I did when I wasn't hanging out at the Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade. I wasn't like the rest of the animals, caged, trapped. I told him I was scrounging for food, and he never questioned it. When you think about it, though, where's a better place to find food than the floor of a mall at the end of the day? Yeah, I wasn't looking for food. I was looking for her. For Boss. Remember who Boss was? That was his sister, right? What if? At first I didn't admit it to myself. You know how it is when you wish for something so bad you're afraid to say it out loud, because what if it never happens? It was like that. I knew the odds were crazy long. I knew it was nuts. And yet, I went out, day after day, searching for her. There'd been 6 of us in the litter. So, why was I only looking for her? Because it was her bark I'd heard. After the box landed, even after the truck roared past, I heard it. A whimper, bark, howl, cry, something I've never heard since. She survived, at least at first. I survived. The rest of them didn't. That's what we talked to. Remember when he got thrown out? He had his brothers and sisters with him, but he said he heard it. He heard Boss's cries, or her whimper, or her howls. My God, maybe that's where he's trying to go. Maybe that's the voice he thinks he heard, or the bark he thinks he heard. Relieved. And what did I do when I heard that bark? Did I run toward it? Did I try to find her to save her? No. No. I was just a few weeks old. Helpless. Useless. The cries stopped almost as soon as they'd started. And you know what? Part of me was relieved. I didn't want to have to go back onto that highway. I couldn't bear wanting to rescue her and not knowing how. I didn't want to see her die. But mostly, I was afraid. Coward. I was afraid. A coward. There's a certain freedom that comes with owning your faults. There's Bob again, doubting himself, right? Afraid, a coward, didn't want to do it. I think he's been doing some pretty brave stuff recently. I don't know about you. The wind. Every day I went out looking for Boss, up and down that same barren stretch of highway. Sometimes I'd catch a hint of something hopeful in the air and think, that's my sister's scent. I'd be certain the breeze had brought her voice to me, like an invisible gift. The wind can really mess with your head. So picture Bob out there, man, a little couple weeks old puppy thrown out with the whole litter, and he was there searching until he ended up at the Big Top Mall, right? So, never found her. Enough. After a while, I stopped going to the highway, stopped looking. It was a relief to give up. I had enough to worry about. My paddles. As I run from the park, I keep hearing my sister's yelp in my head. Still, with every step, my doubts grow. Sometimes we hear what we want to hear. The animal shelter's close, just down the street, but there's nothing quick about the trip. Water rushes past like a raging river. The sun's been swallowed by black clouds. I pick my way through muddy front yards, avoiding the worst of the water. I ain't much of a swimmer. Doesn't come up much in my line of work, though I do passable doggy paddle. The problem is my paddles. My paws are tiny. Not much to work with when you're fighting a flood. I see a couple humans with flashlights carving tunnels in the sheeting rain, but mostly the street seems eerily abandoned, especially after the chaos of the park. The shelter is at the bottom of a slight hill. Rain's pooled outside the front door, despite a pile of sodden sandbags. A police car's out front, parked at an odd angle. I find some footing on a large rock near the door. It takes me 3 slippery tries, but I manage to leap onto the topmost sandbag. I bark with all I've got, but I might as well be voiceless, between the wind and the rain and the howling animals begging for escape. Inside, I pause to listen. I hear humans shouting, and I can make out what sounds like police radio chatter. But I don't hear Boss. I'm right here, right at the source. Nothing. It wasn't her bark I heard. That's what he thought the whole time over the radio. He thought that was his sister still there or in the shelter and he could hear her. Turns out it wasn't. She's dead. And I'm crazy and hearing things and drenched and shivering and where's Julia and where's George? Hey there, little guy. The door eases open just a crack. Every bone in my body, every smart part of my doggy brain says, run. This is an animal shelter. A flooding one, apparently. My sister isn't here. And I still have to find George and Julia. The door moves. Swoop. The loop come down around my neck so fast that a moment I don't know what it is. It's like a cowboy's lasso, the kind in old Western movies I used to watch with Ivan. But this lasso at the end of a long metal handle. And at the end of the long metal handle is a man. Stay calm, buddy. The man eases me, gently but firmly, off the sandbags and through the door. I'm inside the Bow Wow Big House. The Hound Pound. The Pet Pokey. Oops. Great. Alright, now Bob's trapped in the dog slammer, just like he didn't want to be. No way. The Return of Snickers. The man pulls me along with the lasso. I decided not to argue. We enter a small room stacked with animal-filled metal cages, and I am assaulted by howls and hisses. The cold water on the floor sloshes as we walk, just skimming my belly. As bad as my smeller is, I instantly pick up on one distinctive odor. It's like the world's worst perfume, the kind old ladies emit, the kind we spray on the dogs to camouflage their lovely dog stink, the kind Snickers wears. I catch a glimpse of her in the upper cage, bedraggled bow on the droopy hair. Snick, baby, fancy meeting you here, I say. You look good behind bars. harebrain, she replies. Hey, calls a rabbit 2 cages down. Watch your language. Mac couldn't deal with you, I asked Snickers. He brought me here because he thought it would be safer. Seems he may have been mistaken, I say. Carefully grabbing my scruff, Cowboy lifts me into an upper cage. He pulls the lasso loose and shuts the barred door. I'm not happy, but it's a relief to be out of my noose. Right, he's got one of those big dog catcher things, right? That's what the guy, that's why he's calling him a cowboy. It's like a lasso rope on the end. Oh, great, another one, calls a woman wearing tall rubber boots. She pauses in the doorway. I thought we were turning people away. People, yes, says Cowboy, but this pup came solo. Tick-tock, folks, says an older, ruddy-faced officer. He's holding a radio in one hand and a flashlight in the other. You're running out of time. We hear ya, but first we gotta move everybody who's on the lower level. Boots sighs. Last hurricane we had, 2 feet to deal with. I swear they're getting worse. Climate change, says the officer. What are you gonna do? More than we're doing, says Boots. That much is for sure. I'll move the dogs from room 2, Cowboy offers. There are only a couple of them on the bottom level. We're out of cages, though. We'll have to double up. Put that little female in that with that new guy, says Boots. They look like twins. I'm shivering, and it's not because I'm cold. I press my hurt nose to the metal bars. I smell something. I do. I hear something. I do. Cowboy returns, dog in arms. A bark. That bark. The door to my cage opens. Hey, I automatically, even as my heart is already whispering the truth to me, they call me Bob. They call me Boss, says the voice. But by now I know, and of course I know, I'm howling with joy. Sister's back, people. She's back. I cannot believe it. There's no way she's alive. She was the one that lived. The other one, I don't know. Look at the picture. He's with her in there. They do look like twins. Alive. Thunder claps. Shutters fly. Windows rattle. Water rushes. Dogs whimper. Cats howl. People yell. And all I can hear is my sister's sweet voice. Catching up. We lick each other, sniff, yelp, circle, wrestle. Neither of us has ever thought this touchy-feely sort. But sometimes, you just gotta let it all out. Wow, says Cowboy watching us. You'd think they knew each other. And he's right. They do. This is not what I was expecting, guys. I did not expect Boss to be there. I thought she was gone forever. And I'm sure Bob did too. But he heard it over the radio, and he made it there. So, even though it sucks, he's in the slammer now. He's in the Poochie jail, but he's there with his sister in the same cage. All right, guys, it's getting interesting. We'll pick up next time right where we left off.